Hi guys, I'm Kiri. Welcome to another episode of Kiri's Garage. Today, the car is a classic French sports coupe, the legendary Alpine or ALPINE-RENAULT A310. This car was the successor of the very famous ALPINE-RENAULT A110, the rally legend that was unbeatable for some time. But with this car, they wanted to go a bit different way. While A110 was a truly race car, the A310 was more a road car. A110 made the name well known all over the world, so now was time for business. The Alpine A310 was first introduced at the 1971 Geneva Motor Show. Firstly, only equipped with small 4-cylinder engines to keep the philosophy and tradition from the original A110, with the main idea lightweight. The particular car here is a V6, first launched in 1976, addressing criticism of the earlier 4-cylinder models for lacking power. To be a truly successor of something iconic is not an easy task. Launched for the first time in 1963, Alpine A110 was extremely lightweight car, maybe the lightest in the world sports car together with Lotus, so the 4-cylinder engines were enough for A110. Also was a different time, 1960s. The philosophy of Alpine was always lightweight and great handling, again very similar to Lotus, with steel chassis and glass fiber body. Now, Alpine has the tradition from 1955, when the first car was presented, the model Alpine A106, with curb weight just over 500 kilograms. This was very successful race car and competing in all kinds of races. And this was the first of a kind lightweight glass fiber body, rear engine and two-door coupe, so was very innovative car. Then was replaced by A108, which was very similar to the legendary A110. And from here the Alpine became one of the most iconic sports cars in the world. We said it's not an easy to succeed a legend. So the task for Alpine A310 wasn't easy. They hired some of the best designers of the time like Michel Belligond and Robert Opron, well-known and established designers, to create the best sports car in the world. They did an amazing job, and the car was in production for a very long time, from 1971 till 1984, when was replaced by Alpine A610, or known in some countries as a GTA, keeping the same tradition, tubular steel backbone chassis and fiberglass body. The car was looking absolutely fabulous. Originally, A310 was equipped with 4-cylinder inline 1.6-liter engine producing just 122 horsepower, just because the customers were complaining for not enough power. But in reality it was a very strong engine, prepared by Gordini. And if you don't know what Gordini is, this was the race department for Renault, using Renault engines, but highly tuned for races. So 4-cylinder, 1.6-liter, 2 valves per cylinder and 122 horsepower. For early 1970s, to extract 122 horsepower from 1.6-liter naturally aspirated engine was something amazing. This was the deal. And we're talking about 50 years ago. Nowadays, Mercedes CLA 180 has the same power from the same 1.6-liter engine, 122 horsepower, but is equipped with turbo compressor. So we're talking about 50 years ago, naturally aspirated 1.6-liter, 122 horsepower. How many cars you know from very early 1970s with 1.6-liter and 122 horsepower? Not many really. And this for car weight under 900 kilograms. But we said it was 1970, different time, with very powerful V8 or even V12 Italian, German and British cars. The other thing is, Alpine with this model went into a different league. This was now the Porsche 911 rival, Lotus Esprit rival, even the Italians Ferrari 246 GT Dino or Lamborghini Huracan. Anyway, people were expecting more from this car, so in 1976 the company decided to change the old 1.6-liter unit with something bigger, to make the car even better than the cars we just mentioned earlier. They went to much bigger V6 2.7-liter. This was the real deal. 150 brake horsepower and improved performance. Wasn't a rally car anymore, like its predecessor A110, winning 1973 Rally Monte Carlo, but was now luxury sports road car with heritage, so people can enjoy on the road. The V6 model was much more successful than the 1.6 liter one. Just to prove that, from the 1.6 liter engine from 1971 till 1976, Alpine made just 2,340 units, or roughly 400 cars per year. But from the V6 model from 1976 till 1984, the company built 9,276 cars. This was big number for the small car manufacturer from the very small town Dieppe in north of France, with population of only 28,000 people nowadays, but back in 1970s and 80s even less. So 9,276 V6 cars made, or just over 1,000 cars per year, which was huge success. Alpine A310 V6, or known also as a ALPINE-RENAULT A310 V6 because it's closely linked with Renault, is a legendary French sports car that combines absolutely distinctive design, motorsport heritage and engineering innovation. The company is founded by Jean Redalet. We said before the models, the early A106, 108, the legendary 110, and the next generation, the car what is here today, the high-performance rear-engined and rear-wheel drive coupe, the fabulous A310, especially with V6 unit, which is highly desirable today. The car was absolutely well received all over the world, but mostly in the home country France. For 1971, this body-style two-door fastback coupe was way ahead of its time. But not only the design, the engineering as well. Steel backbone chassis with fiberglass body panels, again the most advanced for its time. Nowadays, everyone talking about carbon fiber or even carbon titanium when we're talking about supercars. But back in 1970s, this was the top technology. We said about the designers, one of them Robert Opron, who is famous with his work on Citroën SM and Renault Fuego. We mentioned the great design, we mentioned the great engineering and technology. Now we have to say something about the engine. The V6 unit is a very well-known Peugeot-Renault-Volvo joint development engine, or well-known as a PRV engine. This engine was used in various models of these brands, for example in Peugeot 604, in Renault 30, Volvo 262 or 264, or even in the Talbot Tagora V6. We made a video last year about this car, and it seemed to be very popular on that time. The power wasn't great from V6 2.7 liter, just 150 horses, but was very torquey engine, very flexible, and combined with the very lightweight of the car, A310 V6 was the perfect sports car for 1970s. The engine was paired to the 5-speed manual gearbox, and the top speed was very respectful, 220 km per hour or 137 miles per hour, with acceleration from 0 to 62 miles per hour or 0 to 100 km per hour just 8.4 seconds. Again, this was very reliable and quick car, making it more competitive with contemporary Porsche 911s. This was the perfect rival to Porsche 911, of course without the holy grail on that time, Porsche 930 Turbo. Was better in many aspects, better handling and stability at any speed. Was faster on a track. Just probably Porsche 911 was more refined car, more solid and well built, the better quality car. The other car in the same class, or let's say the other great rival, was the Lotus Esprit. Now here we can find a lot of similarities. Both cars were presented roughly the same time. The Esprit project started 1971 together with Lamborghini Countach. Let's get a little bit out of the subject, because now these early 1970s were probably the golden time for the supercars. The wedge-shaped designed super slick cars that become posters for many boys, and even boys with no orientation into cars. Cars like Lamborghini Countach, Lamborghini Huracan, Ferrari 365 BB, Ferrari 308 GTB or GT4, Maserati Bora, Merak and Kamsin, De Tomaso Pantera, Lotus Esprit, or even Elite and Eclat. Why not a Porsche 924? And of course, Porsche 911. So that time probably was the greatest for the supercars. Every European leading car manufacturing country was developing something crazy. Germany, Italy, England, and on the end France. How cool was that? So the rival Lotus Esprit was ready for production in 1976, exactly as the French supercar ALPINE-RENAULT A310 V6. Both cars had similar chassis, backbone type, both cars fiberglass body, rear engines, 5-speed manual gearboxes, all independent in all 4 corners suspension, 4 disc brakes, very similar weight, Alpine A310 V6 approximately 1000 kilograms, maybe just above 1 ton. Lotus Esprit S1 weighed maybe less than 900 kilograms and was just a little bit more powerful, 160 horsepower extracted from the 4-cylinder inline 2-liter 16-valve unit. Very identical maximum speed, 222 km per hour for the Lotus Esprit versus 220 for Alpine V6. So we have to say that the Lotus Esprit S1 was the true rival to the ALPINE-RENAULT A310 V6. Today the Esprit is more popular car, but we think the Alpine A310 was the more successful car, with more than 11,500 made from both versions 1.6 and V6 for the time 1971-1984. This is just over 10,000 Esprit cars made by Lotus between 1976 and 2005 from all generations. Some owners were complaining about the handling. Was oversteering because of the not perfect weight distribution, 40% front, 60% rear for the early 1.6 liter cars, and even worse, 33% front, 67% rear to the late V6 cars, but still was better handling than Porsche 911s. Lotus Esprit was better balanced car. The engineers tried to compensate this with better tires introduced to the V6 cars, the newly developed Michelin TRX, bigger in size as well. I'm happy to have a car originally fitted with Michelin TRX tires, a 1983 Ford Mustang convertible, and I can say that they are really great handling tires. A bit noisy, but really sticking the car to the road. Early 1.6 liter versions, Alpine A310 was equipped with tires 165/80/13 front and 185/80/13 rear. But these 1.6 liter cars were very light and just under 900 kilograms and better weight distribution, while later V6 cars were equipped with 190/55/340 mm front and 220/55/365 mm rear tires, the metric Michelin TRX. These tires were developed in the middle of 1970s as the best sports tires in the world, something similar to today's Michelin Cup Sports. The difference between 1.6 liter and V6 cars in terms of weight is somewhere approximately 150 kilograms. Early 1.6 liter under 900 kilograms, later V6 under 1050. Not sure which one is going to be better in a short track. As we know, the difference in power is just 28 horsepower, 122 horsepower, this is 150 horsepower, but less weight and better weight distribution is the key factor in a short track. Both versions have the same dimensions, length 4 meter 180 millimeters, the height is 1 meter 620 millimeters, and height 1 meter 150 millimeters, with wheelbase just 2 meter 270 millimeters, very similar to 911 on that time. Both versions, 1.6 or V6 cars, are great enough to give you a unique experience, and we think, no matter which one, both are equally fast cars. Some people are saying the design was influenced by the Ferrari Daytona and De Tomaso Mangusta. Maybe they are right, as we can see some similarities in some parts of the car. For example, the front end looks a bit as a Daytona, then the C-pillar or the side glass behind the door looks like a Mangusta. But anyway, it's a great looking car. The early cars do not have this very cool rubber tail spoiler, but the V6 cars they do, and looks very, very sharp. Interior wise is a great, again, very luxury interior, 2+2 seats, and the back seats are enough even for adults, and it's a great also to be inside this car. So guys, I hope you liked the video about this ALPINE-RENAULT A310 V6. If you like, please subscribe my channel, and see you next time guys, bye!